Oh, beloved, there is a life so rich, so full, so drenched with the divine that many only dare to dream of it. But it is not a dream. It is reality for those who will yield. To live fully, wholly, wrapped in the very presence of the Holy Spirit is not reserved for a select few. It is the inheritance of every child of God. But we cannot step into that fullness on our own strength. We must be taught. We must be led by the one who knows the depths of God's heart. How many of us rush through our days, heavy with burdens, weary of striving, and yet the Holy Spirit stands by, lovingly waiting for us to invite him in. To invite him to be more than a distant concept, more than a Sunday ritual. He longs to be the very air we breathe, the peace that calms our storms, the fire that ignites our purpose. But we must ask to be taught. We must be willing to sit at his feet, to let the noise of this world fall silent, and simply say, "Here I am. Teach me to live." And when he begins to teach, oh, how he teaches! Not through lectures, but through whispers, not through textbooks, but through moments. A conversation that warms the heart, a stillness that brings clarity, a challenge that shapes us, a joy that we cannot explain. This is the divine dance of learning to live in his presence. He moves, we follow. He speaks, we listen. He waits, and we surrender. Beloved, the Holy Spirit is not a distant force. He is your closest companion. And in that holy companionship lies the secret to living fully. You do not need more methods. You need more awareness, more of him. Surrender the reins. Abandon the dusty road of self-sufficiency. Step into the river of his presence and allow yourself to be carried. He will teach you. He will guide you. He will make your life a testimony of what it means to walk not just near him, but with him, moment by moment, breath. Will you ask him? Will you dare to say, "Holy Spirit, teach me to live fully in your presence"? Because when you do, your ordinary days will become extraordinary chapters in the story he is writing through you. And that, beloved, is the life he has always intended for you. To surrender to the guidance of the Holy Spirit is not a one-time act. It is a continuous yielding of the will, moment by moment, breath by breath. It begins when we come to the end of ourselves, when our wisdom, our striving, our plans fall short, and we recognize that we were never meant to live this life in our own strength. The Holy Spirit waits patiently, not to overpower, but to gently lead. His voice is not loud, yet it is unmistakable to the one who desires to listen. He does not force his way. He waits for the invitation. And once we open the door, he enters, not just to visit, but to dwell, to guide, and to transform. True surrender is not passive. It is the most active choice a believer can make. It requires trust, humility, and a deep longing to be led in paths we may not understand. It means laying down our opinions, our ambitions, even our fears, and allowing the Spirit to lead us where our flesh might resist. Sometimes he leads us into quietness, where we learn patience, other times he leads us into boldness where faith must rise. But in every case, his leadership is perfect and his purpose is sure. To surrender is to say, not my will, but yours be done, and mean it with your life. It is waking up each day with a heart postured toward heaven, sensitive to his nudges, alert to his whispers, and willing to obey even when the path seems unclear. It is trusting that the one who searches the deep things of God also knows the path your feet must walk. When we surrender, we do not lose ourselves. We find who we were always meant to be, guided by the one who knows us best. Cultivating intimacy with the Holy Spirit daily is not about ritual, but about relationship. It is not reserved for the spiritually elite, but for every soul that longs to walk closely with God. The Holy Spirit is not a distant force to be summoned in crisis. He is a person to be known, loved, and welcomed into the smallest details of our everyday lives. Just as two friends grow closer through time spent together, shared conversations, and quiet understanding, so it is with the Holy Spirit. Intimacy is built in the secret place, when the world is silent and the heart is still enough to hear the whisper of eternity. Each day presents a fresh opportunity to draw near. It may be a moment of worship in the early morning hours, or a pause in the middle of a hectic afternoon to acknowledge His presence. It may be a quiet prayer, whispered in the night, or a cry from the depths of a broken heart. What matters is not the setting, but the sincerity. The Holy Spirit responds to hunger, spiritual hunger, that refuses to be satisfied with surface-level religion, that yearns for the depths of divine communion. To cultivate this intimacy, we must make room for Him. That means silencing distractions, letting go of cluttered thoughts, and choosing Him above the noise. It means asking questions and listening for answers, speaking from the heart and waiting for His peace to fill the silence. Over time, this daily drawing near transforms us. We begin to think His thoughts, feel His burdens, and reflect His love. Our spirit becomes attuned to His, and we are no longer just living near Him. We are living with Him. The Holy Spirit becomes not just a visitor, but the dearest companion of our soul. Living a life marked by spiritual awareness and sensitivity is to walk through the world with your heart tuned to heaven's frequency. It is to move through ordinary moments with an extraordinary attentiveness to the presence, prompting, and leading of the Holy Spirit. It's not about being mystical or overly emotional. It's about being present, deeply present, to what God is doing around you and within you. This kind of life doesn't happen by accident. It is cultivated through a heart that is continually yielded, a mind that is renewed by truth, and a spirit that is quiet enough to hear the still, small voice. Spiritual sensitivity means that you no longer rush through life making decisions based solely on logic or emotion. You pause, you listen, you ask, Holy Spirit, what are you saying? And He speaks, not always loudly, but always clearly to the one who is listening. Sometimes it's a gentle nudge to speak life into someone who's hurting. Sometimes it's a sudden unrest in your spirit, warning you to take a different path. Other times, it's a deep peace that settles on your soul when everything around you is uncertain. These are not coincidences. They are the fingerprints of the Spirit on your life. Awareness of the Holy Spirit creates an inner sensitivity that changes how you see people, how you handle conflict, how you speak, how you pray, how you serve. You begin to see beyond the natural and recognize the spiritual reality behind every situation. You sense when he is grieved, and you rejoice when he moves. You learn to discern not just what is good, but what is God. And this sensitivity becomes your compass, guiding you with divine clarity, not because you are perfect, but because you are in tune with the one who is. So now the invitation is clear, and it is urgent. The Holy Spirit is not calling you to a life of hard-hearted devotion or shallow encounters. He is calling you to live fully, awake, surrendered, intimate, and sensitive to His divine presence. This is not a luxury for the few. It is a necessity for all who dare to walk in the power and purpose of God. You were never created to survive on the edge of His presence. You were made to dwell in it, to move with Him, to hear Him, to follow Him. And the moment you truly surrender, when you say from the depths of your soul, "Teach me, Holy Spirit, to live fully in your presence," that is the moment heaven begins to breathe through your life in a way you never imagined. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs people who are fully alive in the Spirit, carriers of His presence, burning with His love, walking with His voice in their hearts. Will you be one of them? Will you let Him lead you into the life you were born to live?